Hello and welcome to an e-demo on events in Victor Unified Client. What we're going to do today is we're going to create an event that is triggered by a motion alert on a camera and in turn causes a salvo to be displayed. So the first thing I need to do then is I need to configure my motion alert on my camera. I'm going to go ahead and right click on one of my VideoEdge recorders over here in my device list and choose configure. And then I want to configure my motion on this top camera here, so I'm going to choose setup. And then I'm going to choose motion detection from the video analysis drop down. And you can see I'm getting a warning message here. And what that warning message is telling me is that I need to be in one of the recording with alarms modes before I can do that. And that's these four buttons up here. And I'm going to choose record always with alarms, which is the last one, and then I can save that. Once that update has been applied, I can close out of my VideoEdge interface, and that's my motion detection setup. The next thing I need to do is I need to create the salvo that is going to be displayed when that motion alert occurs. So from the Build tab then, I'll choose Salvos and New, give my salvo a name, and then I can go ahead and drag and drop some cameras over from the left hand pane onto the salvo. A salvo will always use the best layout depending on how many cameras it has. What we can also do is we can force it to use a specific layout by choosing this checkbox and then selecting the layout from the drop down. So I'm going to just choose guard there, and then I can save and close that. Okay, so now we have our motion configured and we also have a salvo. What we need to do is we need to create a salvo display action that will trigger the salvo to be displayed. So from the Build tab again, I'm going to choose Video Actions, Display Salvo, New, give that a name. And I can choose this button to select my salvo. And I can also choose which monitor to display it on. I actually have just the one monitor connected to my system, so obviously I'm going to choose that. And I can go ahead and save and close that. So now we have our motion configured and we have all our salvos set up. What we need to do then is to create the event itself. So again, back to the Build tab, Events and New. Go ahead and give my event a name. And you can see then there's some other options I can configure if I want to. So if we expand out properties then, you can see I can set a priority. I'm going to go ahead and just choose very high there. I can also add some text that will be displayed when the event triggers. And in addition, I can also select a sound to be played when the event is fired, or also I can configure some acknowledge and clear options which relate to the event viewer. Okay, so I have my event set up then, I can close out of that. So now we have our motion configured, we have all our salvos set up, and we also have the event itself. All we need to do now is we need to tie everything together so that when motion occurs on the camera, the event is fired, which in turn triggers our salvo to be displayed. So in order to do that then, I need to go to the Event Action Pairing Editor. So it's the Build tab again, Event Schedule Setup, and Event Action Pairing. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to pair that event with my display salvo action. So if I double click, select my event, I select the little bell icon, and I can choose display salvo actions, and there's our display salvo action in there, and I can choose that. So what that means is when that event is fired, that salvo will display. So I can save and close that. Now what I need to do is I need to link that all back to my motion alert on my camera. So I'm going to go Build, Event Schedule Setup, and then Event Schedule Setup. I'm going to choose my camera by double clicking on Devices here. I'll just scroll down to VideoEdge IP. There's my camera there that has the motion alert. And you can see there's some pre-configured alerts on here. So if I choose this icon, I can add another one. And of course it's motion detection. So I'm going to choose that and select Add Alerts. Then what I need to do is I need to say when motion detection occurs on that camera, I'm going to go ahead and fire my event. So choose the bell again, and then we're going to choose Activate Event, which is called Motion Event. And there it is. And save and close. So that's us all configured now. What I can do then is I'm going to create some motion on this camera and watch our salvo display. And there we go, there's the salvo displayed when I created that motion. I can go up to the top then, and I can choose the little red X in the top right to close out of it. You can see down in the bottom left then of Victory Unified Client window, I've got an alert. If I double click that, it'll open the event viewer. And you can see we've got two panes in here. So we've got the active events at the top and acknowledged events at the bottom. So the two-phase acknowledgement process then, the first one I'm going to do is I'm going to acknowledge it, which jumps that event down into the acknowledge pane. Then from there I can go ahead and clear it.